So today is Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank, which crept up on all of us, especially after this is the first pay-per-view since WrestleMania, so it crept up on us for real. And then usually Money in the Bank is not until like June or July, but now they moved up to May because they got the Saudi Arabia show in June, and then we got Extreme Rules in July where they come into Philly, and then we got SummerSlam in August. So we're gonna go over. I'm going to give you guys my quick predictions on Money in the Bank. Alright, so we have an 11-match card here, and it said that the pre-show match was supposed to be the Usos versus Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, but that's not necessarily the case because I heard that that was not going to be the pre-show anymore, and it looks like they probably going to get back to the Cruiserweights. I don't know the case, to be honest with you, but I'm just going to go over match by match and see how I feel about it. First off, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, who are the new SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, are going to go up against the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. First of all, this whole wild card thing is really in the way. I think it was a bad idea, and it's going to die before it even gets started. And like I said, I couldn't get into detail about that because I didn't do a Raw SmackDown review about it. And it's amazing that the Usos being on Raw and they are rivaling with the Revival. You think that they would get the match with the Revival, not Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. To the point, it was like, if y'all going to keep having the Usos back on SmackDown doing all the SmackDown stuff, why even put them on Raw in the first place? So, me personally, because of the way the story was going, no matter how bad it is, I would like to see the Revival go up against the Usos. So, probably we're not going to get that match until probably the Raw after Money in the Bank, which is kind of unfortunate. But you do that terrible Usi Hot segment, you would think the Revival get the match with the Usos. But that's either here or there. I have honestly Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan winning here. It's not for the tag team titles, but what's the point of them losing right now? So it really is no point in that. Next up for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, Tony Nese versus Arian Daivari. I have not been keeping up with 205 Live in recent weeks, so I don't know where they're standing on that. But I don't see Tony Nese losing the title anytime soon. There's no need for him to lose the title anytime soon. So I'm gonna go with Tony Nese. Next up, we have a singles match for the WWE United States Championship, and that is Samoa Joe taking on Rey Mysterio. Now, Nick, of course, we have been teasing this whole thing with Dominic and Samoa Joe approaching Dominic and backstage and everything. So it looks like since they could have had this happen at WrestleMania, Dominic is getting involved somehow. Samoa Joe chokes out Dominic at the end of the matchup. Maybe Mysterio wins by a fluke, and then Samoa Joe chokes out Dominic in the matchup. So that's what I have going here. I have Rey Mysterio beats Samoa Joe in a fluke win to win the United States Championship, and then out of frustration and anger, Samoa Joe is going to choke out Dominic, which is going to keep this rivalry going for a little bit longer, which I'm not upset about that because I like the dynamic of Rey Mysterio versus Samoa Joe, so it's pretty good there. So they keep that going for all I care. Next up is Roman Reigns going to take on one-on-one with Elias. You know, Elias has been such a took a back seat to this feud too much. I really feel as though that this centers more around Roman and Shane, and then there's the Miz that be added into there, and Elias is just there, it seems like. So there is no way Roman Reigns on a one-on-one match losing to Elias, because I think they're setting up for Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon at SummerSlam. So first of all, I don't see this really be. I mean, this could have a potential to be a decent matchup, or it could be on the level of Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But I think this is going to be a better match than that because it's Money in the Bank. They're going to probably give him a little bit more time. And I got Roman Reigns pick up the win here with basically the usual Superman Punch spear. Speaking of Shane, we have The Miz versus Shane McMahon inside of a steel cage. And for one, I'm glad they didn't go with the regular singles matchup here because, of course, the Falls Count Anywhere match at WrestleMania, which I thought was pretty good. I can't wait to see the steel cage matchup. I don't think The Miz wins here, actually. I think Shane McMahon, out of some shenanigans, picks up the win here because Shane I have is going to go feud on with Roman Reigns, and he doesn't need to have Miz win, because if Miz wins, they got to do a blow off. Now, of course, you had this wild card rule where they can go back and forth. So if the Miz wins this matchup, it's 1-1. So you got to have the blow off. So they could probably do the blow off at Saudi Arabia, but the card has already been leaked for that a little bit. Like Roman's going to go up against Shane at Saudi Arabia. Then there's Extreme Rules where Shane can get his win back there. I don't know what the case would be, but first of all, I'm already interested in the steel cage thing, because this has only been one of the only storylines that has continued to grow and have some steam behind it since was it Crown Jewel happened, and one of the best storylines going up into WrestleMania and going until now. So I want the Miz, because I think Shane gonna do something stupid. I think Shane's gonna try to do a shooting star press from the top of the cage, because why not? It's Shane McMahon. Or Shane loses and he does an elbow drop to Miz from the top of the steel cage. I don't know, whatever, it should be a highly entertaining matchup, but I'm going to go with the Miz to win it here so they can tie it at 1 apiece. I'm going to start with this one because of how the build was, and it's going to be for the WWE Championship, Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens. Everything in me wants Kofi to hold this belt till SummerSlam. Everything in me, because Kevin Owens is like, he set up the storyline of the New Day breakup. And I am one of the people who feels that the New Day does not need to break up for them to be successful as single stars. However, I think Kevin Owens actually takes the championship here. And I know there's no, well, they keep saying there's no automatic rematches, but still, I want Kofi to hold to SummerSlam. Or maybe it's a thing where KO gets up disqualified. I don't know what the case may be. But somehow, some way, I think I have KO winning. But see, it doesn't make sense, really, because it's that New Day, that New Day factor in there. Because if they do bring up the New Day, I see Big E coming after the championship. So will that be a case? I'm not sure. I don't want the New Day to break up, but I'm thinking that's what could happen with them and a Big E Day at SummerSlam, because I don't know the extent of Big E's injury. But when it comes to Kevin Owens thing right now, okay, listen, I have Kevin Owens probably winning by DQ. He still wins the match, but I probably have Kevin Owens winning by DQ. That right there, that will settle it for me. So KO wins by DQ. Alright, so now it's time for the Becky 2 belts. We got Becky going against Lacey Evans for the Raw Women's Championship. Becky going up against Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. There are a lot of people out here who are thinking that Becky is walking away with no belts after tonight. I have to disagree. I don't think Becky's walking out with both belts. I think the only belt Becky's walking out with is the Raw Women's Championship. I think Becky Lynch beats Lacey Evans. I think that's the opening match. Either that or the second matchup. But I think Becky takes on Lacey Evans in the opening matchup, and I think that Becky wins that matchup, because I am a fan of Lacey Evans, believe it or not, but I don't think she's ready for the championship just yet. There's some more she has to do, show her in-ring ability. Like, Lacey Evans only had one singles match so far, and the other one was her just being in the Royal Rumble. And I'm talking about on the main roster. I'm talking about NXT. Fell in love with her during the Mae Young Classic. I really like what she brought to the table, but this is the main roster. You try to sell it to another audience, and she hasn't done much instead of just sashaying her way. So there is no believability that she can win this matchup against Becky Lynch, other than her doing terrible women's rights to Becky Lynch. So yeah, Becky Lynch taps her out in this matchup. But the way they've been booking and showing the video of Becky and Charlotte and their friendship and everything, this is the final showdown. Charlotte gets the belt back. Charlotte gets the belt back and breaks it over to SmackDown Live instead of having Becky go back and forth from Raw to SmackDown. I think that's what happens here. Charlotte takes her belt back from Becky tonight. So that is what I think is going to happen here, where Lacey Evans wins the Raw Women's Championship. No, Lacey Evans loses. Becky retains the Raw Women's Championship, and then Charlotte takes it, because you have to end the Charlotte-Becky storyline. One thing about Charlotte feuds is sometimes they can wear out their welcome and go a little bit too long, such as Charlotte and Sasha, just Charlotte and Becky. I think they even tried to Charlotte and Bayley. She feuded with all of her fellow horsewomen, but I do believe that this is finally going to end it and win back her SmackDown Women's Championship, stay on SmackDown, and they can build up challenges for that. So that's what I have going on here. So Becky keeps Raw, goes over to Raw, and then Charlotte stays with SmackDown. Now let's get into these two Money in the Bank ladder matches. First, for the Money in the Bank women's match, we have Natalya, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, Carmella, and the newly added Nikki Cross, since Alexa Bliss said she could not participate in there. So, this is not the most stacked I've seen it before, that she has been working hard. If I be rewarded, and honestly, and there's no Sasha Banks. Honestly, because if there was a Sasha Banks, Dana Brooke will probably not get this position. But Sasha Banks does not want to come back to WWE, not taking no phone calls from them. I'm guessing. I don't know what the deal with Sasha Banks is right now, but I'll talk about that later. Not in this podcast, it's just later on down the line. But the only woman I only see two winners out of here: Ember Moon or Mandy Rose. I really think they want to get behind Mandy Rose, give her a good push. Like, I think Mandy Rose is everything they want Eva Marie to be. She's beautiful, she's strong, she can wrestle, and she's not terrible Eva Marie to be, and Mandy Rose is just that tenfold. But Ember Moon just got back from injury, so I'm guessing that what they want to do is, I'm going to go with Mandy Rose at a match. Ember Moon is a strong second, but once again, I think her and Naomi in there for the highlights. I really got Mandy Rose winning it, and then she can go on and challenge whoever. I like to see Ember Moon, absolutely, but I think it's going to go with Mandy Rose in this one. Time for the men for their Money in the Bank ladder match. Sami Zayn, who is replacing Braun Strowman, which I think is a better move, because anything less than what Braun Strowman gave us last year in the Money in the Bank will kind of be a failure, and they didn't want to do that to Braun Strowman. Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Ali, Finn Balor, Andrade Cien Almas, and Randy Orton. So, obviously, I don't think Randy Orton goes back to back, so he's out. Sami Zayn is going to have to deal with Braun Strowman. Unfortunately, he's out. Ricochet was looking strong, but I don't think Ricochet on that main roster yet. First of all, you can't come out with a Money in the Bank briefcase with the Ricochet sound effect. Pew, 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 pew. No, I can't do it. I know it's all a Vince fault thing, but it's just still bad. Drew McIntyre. Well, first of all, Ali is in there to be a show stealer. But I have two people winning this. It's either going to be Drew McIntyre or Andrade. So, here's what I want to say. I have Andrade Cien Almas winning this. Hey, Selena Vega said, y'all don't like spoilers, but we do. And I let y'all know Andrade Cien Almas will be the winner here. He needs something. Drew McIntyre already got the look. He already got the persona. He's already crafted for the main event spot. But Andrade needs something to help, light that flame and get him really going. And I think that him winning the Money in the Bank briefcase could do a lot. So I'm going to go with Andrade Cien Almas winning the briefcase over Drew McIntyre. I actually hope that kind of does happen, because I really think they can really shoot him into the atmosphere. And now it's time for the main event for the WWE Universal Championship. Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. Ever since AJ and Seth Rollins were on the same show, I've always wanted this matchup. AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, I've always praised on this podcast as saying that these guys can have a 5-star matchup with a broom, because these guys know how to take anybody and draw a good match out of them. And I think that's what they say. So when you got those two elements, that there's no way they can have a bad match. But then once again, you look at some of AJ Styles' matches with Nakamura and Joe and Bryan. They sit there and they say, you know what? They weren't up to the par like I wanted them to be. They were good matches, but they were overhyped. So that's the case here. But it all depends how much they want to give us, because are they saving this matchup again for SummerSlam or Extreme Rules? Is this the start of a rivalry, or is this the start of a one-off? Because if it's a one-off, I think it could be a match of the year contender. But I really think that it could just be a regular, first match in a whole series of matches in the rivalry. So who do I have winning here? There have been hints of AJ Styles saying that there's a club there. They got his back since there is no Shield members left. So I do see AJ probably turn a full heel, but I think I have Seth Rollins winning this matchup. And then afterwards, AJ goes berserk, and then he gets the club out, and they attack Seth Rollins after the matchup. So this rivalry could probably keep on going like that. But I do have Seth Rollins retain the Universal Championship in the matchup with AJ Styles. It should be no pun intended, should be a phenomenal type matchup. It really should, and I can't wait to really see it. But I got Seth Rollins winning here. So guys, that was my predictions for Money in the Bank here tonight. Make sure you guys stay tuned. For probably tomorrow, I'll have my review of Money in the Bank up. So if I can, right now I'm trying to fight this cold as you make it through the rest of this podcast.